Knicks Nation. Today is Monday, the third day of June, 2024. I hope you had a good weekend. Happy Monday to you, and I hope you and your family are safe and healthy today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders who every day, every weekend, 24/7, 365, saving lives. Those also that pick up garbage for us to keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women that are out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children who are unfortunate victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People that are also the victims of pornography, prostitution, child prostitution, human trafficking, sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, profiteers, and perverts that create these industries and the demand for them. Double blessings on the homeless. Nearly 600,000 men, women, children, veterans, and families homeless on the streets of the United States of America right now. Millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. May blessings be upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. Today we're going to talk about Deuce. This DeuceTime. See what happened now. Tom Thibodeau, as actually I don't like to quote Mark Berman too much, but Mark Berman did mention several times while he was still with the New York Post that Tom Thibodeau pushed to get Deuce McBride. And the Knicks got him 36th in the second round. He comes from Huggins, Coach Huggins at West Virginia, who even when he was at Cincinnati, Coach Huggins is a defensive dude. He produced some defensive players, and so Deuce was one of those. Tough kid, was originally a football player in Cincinnati, in Ohio, came to play basketball, focused on basketball, and he's still a tough kid. He had the scoring, the playmaking, everything at West Virginia. He needed to develop it on the pro level. It takes the two positions that are the toughest positions to learn in the NBA are point guard and center. Two toughest spots. Deuce comes in and he was really not given a lot of minutes as a rookie, of course, under Tom Thibodeau. He stayed in Thibodeau's rookie style, his games with his practices, and of course G League. He started lighting up G League, and I really liked him coming out of West Virginia, and the reason I did is because I understand Tom Thibodeau as a coach, his coaching style, what he likes, what he doesn't like, and I thought Deuce would be a perfect fit. Again, the reason I liked him is because I also like Tom, like defense from New York, like defensive players. Deuce was that, but the key thing is I'm a real believer in the organization giving the coach that it hires the ingredients the coach needs to run his program. And I like to bring up Mike D'Antoni a lot in this because this was an example of the Knicks not doing that. Mike D'Antoni was an offensive coach. His offense is predicated on the point guard, and the Knicks really never focused on getting him the point guard he would need to make his offense flow and build around that point guard. And same with Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau's defensive-oriented style starts with a rim protector and needs defensive players at every position as much as possible. So Deuce fit the criteria, particularly in the perimeter. And I myself, having observed him at West Virginia and in the G League, knew that he could also shoot the basketball if given minutes. He cannot do it in spot minutes. He could not. It would not look good in spot minutes, which a lot, of course, New York Knicks Nation is filled with short-sighted people. So they were all writing him off. But I knew if he got the minutes, he would get also better results. And so this past season, it was no coincidence. This was the game, as I mentioned, that the Don was playing. He always plays chess, and many of y'all still ain't caught up to that yet. But the chess move here was Emmanuel Quickley. It was time for Emmanuel Quickley to sign a new contract about a year ago. The deal was it was either A or B. That's how the Don sets it up. He's got two moves to make here. If Quick would have signed the extension, Deuce would be traded. If Quick did not sign the extension, Quick would be traded and Deuce would be re-signed. Not only would Deuce be re-signed, but as you saw, at a much reduced level than what he would have had to pay Emmanuel Quickley. So, Quickley did not sign the extension, and we thought that that might be the case because Quickley wanted to start. He was drafted from Kentucky, and he was biding his time to start, but then the Knicks went and signed Jalen Brunson. That was the death knell of Quickly's time on the Knicks. They signed Jalen Brunson. Quickly is now wanting to start. So that we talked about teams he could start for. One of those teams was the Toronto Raptors. He ends up going with RJ Barrett to Toronto. And the same exact weekend, Deuce McBride is extended. So that was no accident. It wasn't an accident that Deuce started getting more minutes after that. Nor was it an accident that once they made that deal and got OG and Deuce started getting more minutes and OG was starting, now the Knicks go 14-2. So now Tom Thibodeau himself has stated on multiple occasions that he loves Deuce McBride, that he loves everything about Deuce McBride, that he's trying to get Deuce minutes, and that now that the trade happened, he could get Deuce minutes, and that's what happened. So now going into training camp this year, Deuce will know his role in a sense that he's going to be getting consistent minutes on Mobb Deep. This is huge because if he gets consistent minutes, he knows what to expect night to night. He's going to be comfortable and he's going to play better. The more minutes Deuce plays, the better he plays, as he showed this past season. The more minutes, the more time he gets, he was getting more than 20 minutes a game. The Knicks were like, I want to say like 16-11 when he gets at least 20 minutes. Okay? And most of the time when he gets at least 20 minutes, he scores double figures. So when people were whining about the Knicks bench this past season, not understanding the concept that I just brought because most people, again, are short-sighted. And not only that, 4 of the 9 rotation players at some point were missing a lot of games. So now you don't really have your bench the way you would want it because some of your bench pieces, like Deuce, have to start and play heavy minutes in the starting role. Deuce is a bench piece. It's him, Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson, and either it's going to be Bojan Bogdanovic or Precious or maybe another guy. But the 3, which would be Mitch Rob, Deuce, and Hart, that's the core of Mobb Deep. And you're going to add another player to that to make a 9-man rotation. Again, many of you still not getting the memo. Thibodeau does not play 10 guys. He plays 9. And so Deuce is one of those 9. Knowing coming into this training camp what his role is, you're going to get much better production from him. Another thing people don't understand. I still got some knuckleheads coming at me saying Deuce is not a point guard. You still are short-sighted and don't understand what the hell you're talking about. He's a point guard. He knows what he's doing. He needs the time to play one of the toughest positions to play in the NBA. And he's ready. In the new culture that the Knicks have, they have 2 players, Mitchell Robinson and Deuce McBride, that they have drafted and developed for the purpose of them being long-term pieces in the organization. They just signed Deuce to a 3-year, $13 million deal. They just re-upped last year or the year before. Mitchell Robinson, he still got 2 years at least left on his deal. And so the Knicks now have 2 pieces, which are their bench pieces, which are going to be really valuable to them going forward. Many of you still whining about Mitchell Robinson being injury prone are not understanding the impact of him coming off the bench, both in terms of less injuries, longer, and production. Understand there's a difference between starting and coming off the bench. Okay? So Hartenstein will be the starting center for the Knicks. Mitchell Robinson will be the backup center. And Mitchell Robinson with Deuce and Hart are going to ball. Now, what Tom Thibodeau does, which again, many of you still ain't caught, is he goes into end of the 3rd quarter, and he will play whatever 5 is clicking. Sometimes it could be Hartenstein. Sometimes it could be Mitchell Robinson. Sometimes it could be Deuce. It don't matter. It's who's clicking at the end, who he feels gives him the best chance to win at the end of a game. Okay? Generally, if nobody is really showing or no unit is showing itself, to push forward in a particular game, he'll go back to the starters and just run the starters for the 4th quarter. That's what he's been doing. Okay? So again, with respect to Deuce, if he knows he's getting, which he will, at least 15, 20 minutes a game, you're going to see better production from him. The beginning of the season is going to be, again, the feeling period where Tom Thibodeau's teams traditionally start slow. But by the time you get to January and you have OG in the lineup, and Mitch Robinson, and you have Juju, and you have Hartenstein, and you got Devo and Hart, and of course Jalen Brunson, this team's going to be clicking. I'm very excited to see this team clicking. Again, the only possible change to everything I just said is Mikal Bridges. And it's kind of looking like 50-50 for Mikal. I think the Nets would be doing a rebuild. They just hired a coach that looks like not a guy that you're going to bring for a playoff team. I'm not trying to diss him, but a guy that you're going to bring, a Kenny Atkinson type of guy for a rebuilding team. So you probably looking at rebuild. Now, what does that mean in terms of the Knicks and Mikal Bridges? Well, that's why I say it's 50-50. Maybe they send Mikal to New York. Depends if they can get a deal, and that might change everything. I'm not even going to name players, which some of y'all love to do at this point, because I don't know really who the Knicks would be trading. The best scenario is to trade Bodega, and before Alec Burks goes into official free agency, sign and trade him, and then give him first round picks, probably 4. That's the best scenario, because now you're not losing nobody from your core, and you're adding Mikal Bridges. Okay, which would mean DiVincenzo is that guy on Mobb Deep now. So it becomes DiVincenzo, Deuce, Hart, and Mitchell Robinson. But I don't know that's a dream scenario, and I don't know if that's realistic. So I don't want to say who is going to end up going there. It is not going to be Julius Randle. Y'all can forget that too. So we'll see what happens. But aside from Mikal Bridges, we should bring back this same team, and Deuce McBride is going to be a major cog on this rotation, and he's going to be very effective coming off the bench behind Jalen Brunson and DiVincenzo. And what the Knicks have been doing is rotating those 3 guys in the backcourt with Josh Hart. It's been Josh Hart, Deuce McBride, DiVincenzo, and Brunson. Brunson plays the point guard, but all 3 of the other guys interchange. Like we know Hart can play 2, 3, and 4. Deuce plays 1 and 2. Devo can play 1 and 2. They've all done that. So that's how the Knicks have been. That's how Thibs has been playing with his 9-man guys. He hasn't had a chance to do it to the full extent because of the injuries of this past season. But coming into camp with everybody healthy, it's going to be a different scenario. So you're going to have that if they don't make the Mikal Bridges move, which we will know. I suspect we will know that by draft night. We will know that by draft night, which is coming up in about 3 weeks. So we will know by draft night what's going to happen with Mikal Bridges and the New York Knicks, if it's going to happen. We'll know by draft night. So either all of those picks that we got coming up will go to the Nets with some 2026 picks, or the Knicks will make a pick, and that'll tell you everything. If the Knicks make a pick and keep it, then they're not getting Mikal Bridges. You can see that, okay? So DeuceTime is now. It started this past season, second half of this past season. As soon as they signed him to 3 years, $13 million, that was it right there. DeuceTime was on, okay? It's just like as soon as they signed Jalen Brunson, IQ was going to be out the door because he wasn't going to be coming off the bench no more. He wants to start, okay? And as soon as they traded IQ, it became DeuceTime right away. And it's going to remain DeuceTime. So the Knicks are not going to be getting no more point guards, or y'all still pining for a point guard needs to trill. And then they're not needing no more scoring off the bench unless they end up getting Mikal Bridges, which they'll get more scoring from DiVincenzo. Okay, so Deuce shot last year 41% from 3. That's him getting opportunity. He shot 41% from 3, 86% from the line. You continue to give him opportunity, you're going to see that for a whole season. Okay, so I'm very excited about DeuceTime, as I've been watching this kid from West Virginia, and I'm excited for him. I'm kind of disappointed we lost Grimes, but I understand why we had to. That makes sense. The Knicks the Don is doing moves that make sense all the time. Some of y'all like to point out, Evan Fournier as the one mistake. Y'all stupid. Some of y'all stupid. Like you act like you don't make no mistakes. The Don does make a mistake once in a while, but overall, from 4 years, he's been brilliant putting this team together. And he's going to continue that. So this is what to look for. Deuce is going to be getting consistent minutes. And only exception to that is a Mikal Bridges trade. And that's what I'm saying. I don't know who's going to be going in that trade if they make it. But we will know by draft night. Y'all enjoy your Monday.